Good morning. My name is Greg Mashburn. I'm the elected district attorney for District 21, which includes Cleveland, Garvin, and McLean counties. Today, my office has filed 3 felony counts against Alton Nolen. Count 1, murder in the first degree. Count 2, assault and battery with a deadly weapon, which is Oklahoma's version of attempted murder. Count 3, assault with a deadly weapon. First degree murder carries up to death penalty, life with parole, life without parole. Counts 2 and 3 carry up to life in prison. These allegations stem from the investigation conducted by the Moore Police Department and are based on the following facts as we know them at this time. Earlier in the day, last Thursday, the HR department at Vaughn Foods received complaints against Mr. Nolen. He was called in and suspended and escorted to the parking lot. He then left Vaughn Foods, where he went home, retrieved a knife, and returned to Vaughn Foods to get revenge on certain people that he felt responsible for getting him suspended and who had wronged him. Upon entering the building, he came across Mrs. Hufford and attacked her from behind, ultimately killing her and beheading her. He then saw Mrs. Johnson, who had been the person who had complained on him earlier that day, and attacked her. Mr. Vaughn arrived with his rifle and shot Mr. Nolen as Mr. Nolen was charging at him with a knife in his hand. The FBI continues to investigate Mr. Nolen's background, and we're being kept apprised by any information that they come across. The Moore Police Department, who's done an excellent job in investigating this crime, continues to keep us up to date with any information that they're coming across, and they are delivering their reports to us. And as more details are given to us, and as we review that information provided to us by law enforcement, we could always add additional counts as we identify people who may have been also assaulted during this altercation at Vaughn Foods. Questions?
Why no terrorism charge at this point?
Are you looking into any link to terror?
The FBI is looking into any links that Mr. Nolen may have had to any organizations, and they're looking into that history, and any information that they come across will be kept apprised of.
We know that on his Facebook page he was actually looking at beheadings.
Right.
And as a local law enforcement agency you would have access to that. Why is that not enough to pursue a terrorism charge?
Well, there is not a terrorism statute in the state of Oklahoma. If there is, if that avenue is decided to be pursued, that could be something that's pursued by the federal authorities. Right now, I have a murder charge that we will vigorously prosecute, and 2 other charges that carry up to life in prison. And as we get more information that relates to that, we'll coordinate with the federal authorities and see where that leads us.
Mr. Mashburn, do you not plan on seeking the death penalty in this case?
It is highly likely that I will seek the death penalty in this case. Before that decision is made, I will talk to the family of Mrs. Hufford. That decision is not fair to make without consulting with them first, but that's definitely highly likely at this point.
Talk to me about the attack. You said that she didn't see it coming, it was from behind. What transpired? What led to that in terms of just right before that attack?
Well, my understanding, from what I know, he entered, he saw her standing in a doorway with her back towards him, and he felt that he had been wronged by her or oppressed by her in some manner, and so he chose to attack her.
Were there any religious beliefs or any beliefs linked to any sort of terrorist organization that might have motivated him in his attacks?
That again is still being looked at by the FBI, and so as more information on that angle comes in, then we can look at that. But that's not something that I have been privy to exact details of how he felt about that.
Did he say anything during the attacks?
My understanding is that he was using some Arabic term during the attacks, and certainly that's one of the many reasons why the FBI is involved at this point in time.
Mr. Mashburn, can you
confirm that Nolen was fired for trying to convert employees?
My understanding that the altercation that occurred earlier in the day had more to do with race than it was him trying to convert anyone, and that he was basically saying he didn't like white people and had this altercation with our second victim regarding that. Yes, ma'am.
What else can you tell us?
Hold on just a second. Yes, ma'am.
The first report was that the knife came from the company, but you said he went home to retrieve a knife. Was it a company knife that he had taken home?
I do not believe that it was a company knife. I believe it was a knife that he had at home.
Can you elaborate on this original confrontation or altercation you just mentioned?
Basically, from my understanding, there was an altercation about him not liking white people. There was some back and forth conversation with Ms. Johnson, and that led her to make the complaint with the HR department. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk more about the weapon and give us a description of it? I know she asked if it came from home. Okay, we have that, but yeah. Can you describe it? What was it? How big was it? I think people are baffled that this could happen in a workplace or anywhere, really.
Well, sure. I have not seen pictures of the weapon at this point in time. All I know was a large kitchen knife.
Police say he's been very forthcoming in talking to them, very cooperative, being very detailed in his thoughts and everything. Could you please tell us what influenced him in the manner in which he attacked these women?
Well, certainly, I mean, obviously there was some sort of infatuation with beheading. I mean, that's obvious from the Facebook post. So the manner in which it was carried out seems to be related to his interest in killing someone in that way. But other than that, it seems to be an isolated incident with him being triggered by his having been suspended earlier in the day. Yes, sir.
Tell us, what is there moving forward? Is there a court date? Kind of what's the timeline that you're looking at?
Mr. Nolen is still in the hospital. So with these charges, once he's released from the hospital, he'll be arraigned on these charges. I'll be meeting with the family in the next few days. Once the decision is made to pursue the death penalty, there'll be a document called a bill of particulars that will be filed and giving the defendant notice that we will be seeking the death penalty. And then we will start the court process, a preliminary hearing conference. He'll be assigned an attorney, or if, he'll be given the opportunity to hire one. And then we have preliminary hearings, and then ultimately a trial date will be set.
So that arraignment hearing, is that next week, this week? How soon is that going to be?
It just depends on when he's released from the hospital. So once he gets to the jail, depending on what time of day, if it's early enough in one day, they could do arraignments. They do arraignments right after lunch. If he's brought from the hospital late in the afternoon, he probably won't be arraigned till the following day after that.
How much time lapsed between the time he was suspended from the office to him actually respond foods?
I'm not sure.
Was he suspended or fired?
My understanding is that he was suspended. Yes, sir.
Could you walk us through just the timeline from the time he went in the door with the intent to attack someone, and how many people were at risk here? Was it just the two that were in that area?
No, there were many people surrounding that. There were multiple attempts by multiple people to stop this attack. So there'll be, as we move through and re-interview some of the people who were around, then we may identify other people, because we are aware that he did chase some people away with the knife. And so there could be further counts with those victims. There are men who were trying to get him away from the victims, both female victims in this case. And so, as he moved, as he was attacking people, other people were trying to draw his attention away. So we'll just have to identify those people, re-interview, and then again we could always add those additional counts.
What was it that prevented him from killing the second victim?
Mr. Vaughn.
Did Mr. Vaughn get his rifle from inside the business, or did he have to go out to the parking lot to his car to get his rifle?
I don't know that. My understanding was he had it in the building. Jeremy, do you know? I believe he had it with him in the building.
Can you discuss the suspect's injuries at all, like where he was shot when he was stopped by Mr. Vaughn, and also is there anything that you can share with us that you've learned from his discussions from where he is in the hospital? Does he remember, is he claiming he remembers it vividly and he's been able to give you details, or he doesn't know what happened?
He has been able to give details, and he was shot once through the arm and into the abdomen.
Were there 3 shots and one of them missed?
3 shots, and I believe 2 of them missed. That's the information I have at this point.
And we're told he's been cooperative with police so far in their questioning.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that in terms of what those discussions have been like?
At this point in time, I don't feel comfortable going into too much detail with our case, but suffice it to say that will be part of the evidence presented. We anticipate that will be part of the evidence presented as a statement from him confessing to these events.
Has he expressed any regret?
Again, I probably won't go into that at this point in time.
Did any other employees perhaps delay him or slow him down in his attack on the second victim prior to the gunshot?
Yes, he was prevented from finishing his attack on her by Mr. Vaughn when he showed up with his rifle.
Do you believe that she would have been beheaded as well? Was he attempting to do that?
I think so.
So he had attacked her and stabbed her. Were others able to get him away from her temporarily, and then he was shot? Is that how it worked?
At this point in time, I'm not sure on the exact details. Again, there were multiple witnesses to this, multiple people that were standing around. And so everybody, which is typical in tragic events such as this, everybody has a different viewpoint. And so we'll sift through all that and know exact details later on. All right?
Can you tell us anything about her injuries, where
She was cut on her neck and on her face.
In terms of the timeline for how long this incident took, without getting into too gruesome details, he's using a knife. This isn't a samurai sword he's using to behead someone. How long did this play out?
I don't know. It has not been reported to me a specific time frame. Pretty chaotic event, I'm sure. So, some people will say it happened in a split second. Some people, their version of it may say it seemed like forever. I mean, you can't really get an idea until you sit down face to face with those witnesses and figure out what everybody was seeing.
Is there any security video from inside the business?
There is not.
Was it his intent to attack only women? Did he say anything about that? And
No, it was not. The target was not all women, no.
What about white people?
No.
He was just there to kill as many people
There were 3 different people that he had on his mind that had oppressed him. And they were of different races and different genders.
Are 2 of the 3 the 2 women who were attacked?
1.
Which woman was the one who made the complaint against him? Was it Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Did he know Colleen?
I don't know.
So the first victim, she just wrongfully at the wrong time.
Basically.
Mr. Mashburn, I'm
Yes.
sorry if you already answered this question. I came in a little bit late, but could you just again mention if his religion or his conversion to Islam did in fact play a role in the crime, in your opinion, and is that reflected in any charges?
Again, basically, that part of it's being looked at by the FBI, and they're not finished with their investigation yet.
Do we know if Alton Nolen had ever been disciplined at Vaughn Foods before?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Do you know when he converted to Islam?
I don't.
Any idea what people did to try and stop him? Were they throwing chairs at him, just trying to muscle him to the ground, or?
All the above. I mean, they tried chairs, they tried kicking. They were trying to help their coworker.
Do you know if he came in contact with the other 2 people that were on his mind?
My understanding, no, he did not. All right, thank you guys very much.